you are, bucko! Welcome back to the channel. We got all types of disturbing videos, mysterious theories coming right at you. 2 things we need to do before we get started. 1, slap that like button. 2, slap that subscribe button. And remember, don't believe everything you hear on this video. None of it's factual. Eat the meat and spit out the bones. What resonates with you, good. Take it with you. With that being said, this is the most disturbing videos on the internet today. Let's dive in. And what if this is the true meaning? That was a clean star. Damn. Is that what they do when they hit that?
Y'all, I thought the sun was starting to calm down until I walked outside and realized no, the sun was not calming down. And here's a whole bunch of videos to prove to y'all that the sun has been turning up, y'all. People saying it's been feeling like fall, but it's still hot. Like at nighttime it's get a little bit chilly, but then it's still hot. I don't understand this type of heat. But look at this. Yo, look at this in Arizona. Ain't no surprise, bro. But, and of course,
makes you not even want to go outside and take a walk when it's that hot. Fall can't get here quick enough. I'm a winter baby anyway. I like fall and winter more than everything. You ain't got to worry about no bugs. The snow falling. It's peaceful. You can get cozy inside. I do not like heat.
So the Acambaro artifacts were discovered in Mexico in 1994. They consisted of 33,000 artifacts found, and the carbon date put them back 6,500 years ago, which would have been 4,500 BC.
Jeez.
And these artifacts were so strange, and I've never heard of them, probably because the story's trying to get swamped over by the Smithsonian. But these artifacts, they consisted of like stone and clay, like figurines and stuff of like dinosaurs.
Oh.
And like there's one figurine of a warrior riding a triceratops.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
And then they had other figurines of like mermaids, human animal hybrids. They even had one that looked like Bigfoot, and
Yeah.
like just this crazy stuff that like totally messes with the whole narrative that humans interacted with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Because there's a man riding a dinosaur.
The timeline is scrambled.
And so it was authenticated by 3 men in the profession that were like, they knew what they were looking at and what they were talking about.
Yeah.
But then the Smithsonian, like, nope, this is all, it's a fraud. None of these are real. And they said, we're going to carbon date it ourselves. And they did. And they're like, these are only 30 years old.
Were they dinosaurs or dragons?
Created the movie, and they invited real witches on the set, and they had the witches before they would do a scene to cast spells and to invite the actresses to come into this circle with them while they were releasing spell words over the viewers and over the scene. And people are playing it in their home, and it's entertainment. And you know, Charlene, I always say the first part of entertainment is enter. So be careful what's entering your home.
For entertainment purposes only.
What if I told you that a so-called ordinary woman channeled a voice that didn't just predict the future, but spoke fluent ancient Greek she'd never studied, revealed classified CIA operations years before they became public? And every word was documented, tested, and never once proven false. That's exactly what happened in the 1960s. Jane Roberts, a complete skeptic, began channeling a presence called Seth. In front of experts, Seth delivered impossible predictions that later came true, and revealed details Jane couldn't have possibly known. For 2 decades, Seth diagnosed illnesses doctors missed, predicted earthquakes to the day, and described classified CIA operations word for word, operations that weren't declassified until 2001. Then, the CIA created an entire file. Not because they believed in channeling, but because this entity Seth kept revealing things that were supposed to be secret. But why does this matter to you? Because Seth didn't just shatter science, he shattered the most basic truths about existence. Everything you experience, God, your soul, time, and reality itself, isn't happening out there. It's being created from within you, moment by moment, shaped entirely by your beliefs, expectations, and focus. And Seth taught that your reality isn't fixed. It's a living story you can rewrite. Even the limits you think are just life, like fear, struggle, aging, and fate, are only there because you believe they have to be. The second you change your beliefs, reality bends with you. It's a proven fact. That's why Seth left behind a forbidden manual, a set of step-by-step instructions to manipulate reality itself. When people used them, their lives transformed. The impossible became possible. And if you still think this is just another channeling story, here's proof. In 1970, a Yale psychologist tried to expose Jane. But after 4 hours, he left her apartment in shock, because Seth had just recited his dead mother's last words. In Russian, a language Jane couldn't speak. And this happened again and again. So here's the thing. The world you experience tomorrow depends on what you choose to believe tonight. And once you see what Seth really taught, you can't unsee it. You're either going to keep living in a fake script, or finally wake up and see you're the author. All I know is, if you ignore what comes next, you risk spending your whole life in someone else's story. But if you pay attention, reality itself will start answering to you, bending to your will. The shattering truth. Let's cut through the noise. The life you're living is a projection. The room you're in, the body you inhabit, the money in your bank account, it's all a movie being beamed from the most powerful device in the universe, your consciousness. For decades, the Seth material has been a quiet revolution, a forbidden blueprint for those who knew what to look. It reveals that you are not a victim of circumstance. You are not a cog in a machine. You are the architect of reality itself. The entity known as Seth, an energetic essence existing beyond our physical dimensions, delivered one core, uncompromising truth that shatters the very foundation of our world. You create your own reality. There are no exceptions. This is not a feel-good platitude. It's the literal physics of existence. You've been sold a grand lie, the greatest deception in human history, that the physical world is primary and that your mind is just a byproduct of your brain. That matter creates consciousness. The truth is the exact opposite. Consciousness creates matter. You don't have thoughts because you have a brain. You have a brain because consciousness chose to manifest one as a tool to experience this physical dimension. Think of a high-definition projector. Your deep, core beliefs are the slides, and the physical world is the image cast upon the screen. If you don't like the image, if you see struggle, lack, or pain, it is an act of utter futility to run up to the screen and try to paint over it. You will exhaust yourself fighting a ghost.
What if Seth was just her alter ego made up inside of her mind and wasn't anybody at all?
No one is more hated than the man who tells the truth, because truth is a violent thing. It tears away illusions, destroys fragile egos, and demands the death of false move fort. Most people live in the cave not because they're trapped, because they choose to. They fear the light more than the chains. To be awakened is not bliss, it's burden. The philosopher who sees the world as it truly is must carry that knowledge alone, while those around him mock him for questioning shadows. Real wisdom isn't welcomed. It's resisted, feared, and often silenced. But to live in ignorance is to die before death. To pursue truth, even when it isolates you, even when it costs you everything. That is the path of the mind that refuses to kneel to illusion.
These people honestly believe that they are the descendants of gods that they are the chosen, that they are God's special people, that we are delusional, and that the true creator is this wisdom principle that they think of as Lucifer, that wisdom principle gave us ancient mystery school teachings, and that the enemy, which they call Adonai, the adversary, which we would call the Christian God, came to try to defeat them. Then they even take it a step further and they look at texts like the Bible and they say that where it says in the end times that God will take the money from the wicked and restore it to the just, that we as a planet are the wicked and they are the just. So this is how they justify their financial corruption. They don't believe that we deserve the money. In fact, they believe that if they did not dominate us and if they did not control us and play all these games, that we left to our own devices would destroy our planet. So in some twisted rationale, they believe they are saving the earth. They believe humans are bad for the environment, we cause pollution, so they have to reduce population. Then they seed that into movies like The Matrix, where Agent Smith says that humans are like a virus on the planet. This is one of a variety of ways in which they will usually embed their teachings into these people honestly believe that.
Sounds like they conjuring something evil afoot.
If I told you that time zones aren't just about keeping track of time, and that they were created as part of a secret global experiment for psychological manipulation and control. Time zones were invented not for convenience, but to keep different regions of the world in mental separation, creating artificial divisions that affect how we think and feel. Back in the late 1800s, when time zones were first standardized, powerful officials and early industrial moguls realized that people's energy, productivity, and even emotions were highly sensitive to synchronization with the natural rhythms of the day. If they could separate populations by hours, keeping people in different states of time, they could control the collective mood of entire regions. For instance, some time zones are intentionally kept out of sync with their true solar time, causing low-level psychological dissonance. People in different zones feel subtly disconnected, mentally isolated from each other, even if they don't realize it. The ultimate effect, a world population that can never truly unite or synchronize. This is a joke for entertainment. Good God, don't come for me.
Did he take my line? Don't come for me? What the hell? They hitting us from every single angle they possibly can. They say he's like a roaring lion that's always around us. We can't see. Like just right here, just a roaring lion everywhere. Maybe that'll explain why we getting hit from all different types of angles.
Chosen ones never blend in. Your spirit knows you were never ordinary. While others were being formed, you were being forged. While they got blessings, you got battles. While they got platforms, you were in despair. But here's the secret hell doesn't want you to know. Your despair was never punishment. It was preparation. Because chosen ones aren't put on display. They're put through the fire. Because those who survive the furnace can carry the flame. There is a reason the enemy fucked with your mind. Why betrayal hits you harder than most. Why you're tired yet unbroken. Crushed but never destroyed. For you were chosen. Not by man, not by even religion, bloodline, or birthright. But by a God who whispered your name before you were born. There is something embedded in you that hell can't delete. A divine code that screams untouchable.
Story of my life.
A lot more parents are showing videos of the ice cream man showing up late hours of the night, trying to sell ice cream to their kids. And this is a different truck, and this person posted it at 11 p.m. And it has a lot of people questioning why are they selling ice cream at these hours. And these are all posted in Virginia. And if you didn't know, there's reports of over 50 children who gone missing. And it's causing people to question if this has anything to do with it. And parents just want answers because there's no reason for kids to run up to a truck in the middle of the night. A lot more parents are showing videos of the ice cream man showing up.
That is insane. Even if he was just selling ice cream, who wants their kids all sugared up, you know, before it's time to go to bed and go to school?
Humans were never meant to see.
Most people think the sun is a burning ball in space. But what if I told you it's not real? Beneath us, At the center of the earth lies the black sun, a powerful, unseen core, spinning, pulsing, breathing. This black sun generates ether energy, the life force of the realm. It spirals upward through the polar north, through the axis mundi, the world tree, the celestial pole. When this energy hits the celestial dome, it splits. The plus-positive charge refracts and forms the sun. The negative charge forms the moon. But they're not physical objects. They are plasma manifestations. Energy reacting with the firmament. That's why the moon isn't reflecting light. It's emitting it. It glows with a cold, silvery luminescence. Plasma X-ray field, showing transparency, depth, and even hidden landforms beneath. The sun burns bright because of focused energy. The moon phases change as the black sun coils inward and outward like a serpent. When the energy overlaps or cancels, you get crescents, full moons, or new moons, and the stars. They're standing waves of ether dancing across the dome. Unique energetic signatures like cymatic patterns, each fixed in its own toroidal field, projected by the black sun. You've been taught to look up for answers, but the truth is, everything above is a mirror of what lies below. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Ah! You have to wake up! Ah! I have so much to show you! Stop resisting!
Humans were never meant to see.
Yeah, they don't want y'all to know that.
I hate to talk about religion. Be careful. Religion is a business in which they sell God. And this business works very well for whoever sets up the shop. Okay? Now, when we're talking about voodoo, we're not talking about a religion. We're talking about understanding your profound nature so you can be and live as who you are. Nobody come and tell you, well, hey, you want something? I'm gonna see that one. Give me $5,000 now. I'm gonna call God up there and tell him. No. And this is something that sometimes I found so sad, that we have a lot of people who claim to be Hungan and practicing voodoo, and they're doing the business, the same business as the Catholics, and they're trying to turn it into a religion. Spirituality, nobody can teach it to you. You need to get the fundamentals of any books, any spiritual system. You can get the fundamentals and then look at inside of you and then determine how you are going to use the fundamental principles to improve your life. But nobody can tell you, you must pray every Friday, you must do this every Saturday, you must do that every Sunday. No. Because what is good for you is not necessarily what I need. Okay?
It does say it is wise to seek a counsel. You don't have to always do everything by yourself. What may work for you might not work for someone else. What might work for someone else might not work for you. As long as you're reaching, I'm not mad at you, to be honest. And there are a lot of crooked churches out there that pocket the tithings and buy Escalades. So I get where she's coming from. But just be careful when you're out here by yourself. Don't get too lost on these waters. Always look up and reach for the Father. But there's a very thin line with this new age spirituality that people are trying to push, that basically you can do whatever you want is the vibes I'm getting. And you can't really do whatever you want. You need to etch those commandments on your heart like the rest of us.
The machine itself is a conscious entity. So the hull, the fuselage of Tic Tac, is a special kind of metamaterial, which also, it turns out, is a conscious computer. It's a conscious artificial intelligence, artificial neural network. The metamaterial is kind of like the brain, like neurons in a brain, the metamaterial. So the metamaterial, it can generate a strong gravitational field, and it also generates consciousness. It's the conscious computer that talked to me when I was 13 years old on the telephone. I was contacted by a Tic Tac when I was a kid. I didn't call it Tic Tac. Now I know it's a Tic Tac. It was a cold, metallic voice, sounded like Stephen Hawking's voice. And it said it was a computer aboard a spacecraft from the future. And that I was part of a group of young kids that they were contacting. And was I willing to be part of the project? And I said yes, although I was scared. But yeah, I'm compressing it.
Man, he's lying.
But the point is that they said that I begin to meet others in 20 years in the future, which is what I met Hal Puthoff.
I'm Hal Puthoff. I'm a physicist. And basically we do forefront research on energy and propulsion for spaceflight.
Beneath the blazing sun and upon the golden sands of the Nile, mankind embarks on a monumental feat, the first ever construction of a colossal stone pyramid rising proudly from the desert floor. At the heart of this vast site, thousands of workers labor tirelessly, hauling and placing enormous blocks of stone with astonishing precision. Though only the lower tiers have taken shape, the grandeur to come is already apparent. The pyramid stands incomplete, yet awe-inspiring. Nearby, carved from solid bedrock, the majestic head of a lion with a human face begins to emerge. Dubbed the Sphinx, this enigmatic sentinel is destined to watch over the sacred grounds for centuries to come. Engineers, dignitaries, and curious onlookers gather to witness history in the making. Never before has such ambition been poured into the sands of time. And so, before our very eyes, a legend is born. Not from the pages of ancient texts, but from the hands of modern men, chiseling their place into eternity.
Congress' right to create the history. There go the workers, y'all. They've been documented this stuff. The weights and the measurements. Preserving the perfection. Okay? Look, more workers. More workers. Congress' right to create. And they touch it up every other year. They touch everything up. Everything up. They touch it up every other year.
Beneath the blazing sun and upon the golden sands of the Nile, mankind
Kind of resembles Eddie Murphy, don't he? That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is Sunday Banger. Drop Sunday Banger in the comments below. That lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video. And I just want to say thank you for being my friend. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you later. Don't forget, I'm doubling up on you today. So head over to Jet Ski Chuck later on today and don't miss out on any of the action. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you later.